Supreme. It's the natural element, black rain. I'm a poet slash artist slash expressionist. I believe communication is key and expressing oneself is vital in life. You have to basically be able to release and tell a story, tell your story.
Many times, I was misjudged, presumed to be violent, from not smiling soon enough during casual introductions. I thought I needed alcohol or marijuana more than food and friendships for proper functioning. However, you cannot be a man who does not mentally fold, and I got myself together though. Started writing, binding experience with memory, memory with performance, and I decided I want to live a long life, but only if God will allow me to always have this gift. Hasn't always been easy, treading through the late nights, my eyes and ears, the best form of defensive protection, residing in Cleveland, but this feeling of euphoria, each time pen scribbles across wrinkled paper, about the wrinkles in life unstraightened, my life, unapologetically shared by men with similar skin and corresponding burdens from different bloodlines, but nonetheless, we are all one and the same. Linked by fear of losing before given chance to win, or deafening screams that black mothers propel to heaven after gun violence has participated alongside the devil in theft of a soul. Now silent, broke hearts beat slow, bold print scribbled on lines short like obituaries last, finalized descriptions of who men were. Before slavery, before death by way of traffic stop, no warning shot, or after incarceration or addiction, or getting lost in the bottoms of bottles, or being put flat on pavements from service guns filled with points hollow, a picture when they once smiled. Cause no one discusses when men be anything other than suspect or victim we be. Talked about so bad, name dragged in the dirt. Same elderly dirt poisoned by perished bodies of evil men, but we're fathers too, you know. Brothers, cousins, not all gang banging, not all trapped in the traps with packs of toxins, and some of us do pray to God to dig out the sorrow in the pits of our stomach from fear that today could be our last, and some of us sprinkle love over our trials and faithful for our tribulations, realizing that real men have been breeded from pain. And real tears have watered the grass where best friends have been slain, and revenge was not always the first response to anything regarding our pain, and physical altercations ending in death is not how all of us men feel things should be. It's not a warrior. We're educated, highly favored and melanated, persuaded by our desires to move past those who see our skin as lower class and degrade us. We still travel through the racism and slander, our destiny to say we've made it. Backs broken over pavements, but we rise above while ducking, moving forward, because it's in our blood to always say and to always strive to make it. Peace.
Off in the distance, you hear many different voices, united, rising, chanting, Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter. You attempt to control your emotions, but the more they chant, the more you lose control. And finally, it's just too much and you scream. Don't you know that all lives matter? Blue lives, they matter too. Shocked by your outbursts, the crowd quiets until one lone voice tries to explain that throughout history, Black lives have been valued far less than others. She continues by saying that we've been treated as livestock. Children have been spit on as they entered newly desegregated schools. Billie Holiday even explained that strange fruit blossomed and hung from trees. We've even seen Rodney King beaten in the streets. Bothan John executed because he appeared to eat ice cream too dangerously. Breonna Taylor killed in her sleep. Then something as simple as two resumes exactly the same except for African American name. Only one will be called, and you dare to exclaim that all lives matter? Our question is to who? She continues that police at the end of their shift remove their uniforms. But blacks, however, cannot remove their color, although some have tried, poisoning themselves with bleach. But as Beyonce says, we wake up like this. But she forgot to mention that some of us fall asleep like this, desperate to assimilate, but preconceived notions cover us from head to toe like our bodies have been dusted for fingerprints. Our sons fit the description of what you think of as dangerous. Tall, with skin that is darker than yours. But we've taught them if stopped to keep their hands on the wheel and to always say yes and no sir. But history has proven that even this sometimes is not enough. The year is 1984 and my 18-year-old uncle stopped for a traffic violation, taken in alive and returned to us in pine. The story of so many black lives that did not matter. She wonders aloud, can't you understand that the only difference between me and you is the color of our skin? You see, if I scrub and scrub, skin does peel, tendons come on display. Can't you see that underneath we're all the same? I scrub and scrub as I pray, please don't kill our sons. I scrub and scrub down to the glistening white bone. I scrub until I hear the ancestors scream, Black lives do matter. Then she quietly pleads, Mr. Officer, next time you stop a young black male, please treat him with the same respect you won't afford it to your son. Because that young man is someone's child, and they want him to come home safe and sound. Reality begins to rush over you. Hearing all this causes the blinders that have covered your eyes to clear. And you begin running those statements over and over. But just as your mind begins to open, your old friend, unconscious bias, reaches out and tugs at your shoulder saying, it's not your fault. Some lives matter more than others.
Hello, my name is Quartez Harris, and I will be reading a selection from my new book entitled We Made It to School Alive. And this poem is entitled, I Feel You. Black balloons burst in class, books in the dumpster. Belt holding boy together, I am a teacher. My students still alive, I feel you. School on lockdown, fire drills, lack of school supplies, beat his ass with a Bible, hungry nights, East Cleveland, potholes, bus stops, cops watch, homeless man playing guitar, the hood is all I need, says drunken man. Mattress on the floor, rich man gave poor boy a charter school and uniform, ain't learned in years, mom sits on the porch, daydream chaser. Bills on her laps, I feel you. House near the crime scene, forgot to lock the door. Homework in the streets, everything blood in the hood. No central air, picnic chair in the living room. The school parking lot, dad singing church hymns, lead in the wire. TV dinners, school fights, I feel you. Red in the rain, Phone rings, shoes untied, fists fights, children laughing. Television, I feel you, unafraid, afraid. Pastor preaches, Lord coming, beer bottles, rolling under church pews, left the radio on. Bullet holes in basketballs, prayer oil on my skin, cuts in the curtains, glass in the car. Kids beat the shit out of a school computer. Fuck these test scores. School called the cops, said he was a bullet. You made me one.
Hi, my name is Belle Freeman, and this is Phases of Scrolling Through Social Media for a Poet. Phase 1. I was scrolling through Facebook, and I found memes with puppies, and art, and hair tutorials, and carefully thought out paragraphs about why someone just can't, and recipes, and vacation photos, and Jesus, and missing girls' most recent pictures, and I found an officer on a boy's back, pushing him into the concrete with the full force of his body, and grabbing him by the ears, and pounding his head down with both hands as if he wanted to get this boy's face as close to the earth's core as possible, and this girl I knew from high school's wedding pictures, which was weird because she's younger than me, and a really neatly embroidered pillow in the making, and a supermodel, and a headline, Arnold Schwarzenegger doesn't eat meat. Think about that. And I wasn't sure which that to think of because it went so fast. So I thought about that boy. And I realized I didn't catch his name. And I realized I didn't see his face. And I scroll back to find who he is and my feed refreshes. And the video doesn't come back. And a boy's personhood slips through the pixels under my finger. And I think about that. How he's probably never coming back in more ways than one, but I don't know that for sure. Because I don't know if he lived to see the end of the video or not. And I think about that. How easy it was to scroll past him. My finger slipped across the screen as if it had been slicked with his freshly shed blood, and Schwarzenegger is still smiling at me. And there's no blood on his hands because he doesn't eat meat. Phase 2. Good poets don't write poems like this anymore. At least not according to the good poets I know. It's too cliché. So forgive me if I'm not done here yet. Or don't. I don't care. I wrote Michael Brown's name into an essay in class once, and I asked who knew who he was, and only 2 hands went up, and I felt like I failed him, and I felt like we failed him, and I knew we could never say these same things enough. And now there's a boy whose name I just want to feel in my mouth once and I can't. And maybe no one ever will again. And maybe no one ever did. And maybe the only thing that ever kissed his face was the ground. And maybe he never had a face at all because cliches never really get to. And maybe I imagined him. I don't know. But I just had to write him down. Someone had to write him down. We have to keep writing these things down. Sometimes I worry we won't bother to write each other's eulogies because they'll be too damn cliche. I'm not letting you make a cliche out of our crumbling bones or a stereotype out of our skin. We are not some old, unspeakable adage. Phase 3. There really aren't words for making prose out of a boy I've never seen standing. Someone, somewhere, will skim this poem and say they understood. That's like taking a glance at a body at a casket and pretending you knew who that boy was. You don't know. You won't know. You can't understand, and neither can I. I don't even know if he lived to see the end of the video or not. I dream him sometimes. He's still faceless to me. He's walking barefoot in loosely tossed soil sometimes, with no twigs, no pebbles, no concrete, and he leaves a trail of blood behind him, and it's feeding into the soil, and it's sprouting little flowers, forget-me-nots, of course. How cliché is that? I dream him sometimes. He's still faceless to me. He wins his court case, and a pig is out of a job, and fresh out of freedom, and a boy is left to grow a face to show the world. I dream them all sometimes. They're all growing the same face to me. They're together. They're carving their names, their stories, their faces into the same wall. And they'll never run out of room. Because the wall will never stop growing, and it'll never fall because it's made of Henrietta Lacks's cells, of course. Phase 4. I finally write about the faceless boy, and I post his story to Facebook, and there's not enough praise in the world that's worth what I was really hoping for in response. His name, his face. And hardly anyone read it anyway. No surprise there, it's not like I said anything groundbreaking, and I think about that. How unoriginal each original's death becomes when everyone's dying, and I think about that. How I don't even know if he lived to see the end of the video or not, and I naturally act like he's gone. And how my poem probably disappeared right underneath someone's finger just like he did. And all the things we let get away when we're so attached to letting go. And I think about that girl, the missing girl. And how I've seen girl after girl after girl after girl after girl just like her. And how I couldn't name 10 of those girls if I tried. Or 5. Or 1. And how I could see one of them in the street, and I could be her only chance at being found and I wouldn't know her. And on my screen there's another girl, and another boy, and another girl, and a wedding, and Tiger King, and a craft video, and a depression poem, and Baby Yoda, and another girl, and another boy, and a black-faced Kim fucking Kardashian, and my feed refreshes.
Trigger warning. This poem was meant to be funny. I tried to think funny, be funny, channel my inner comedian, write funny across a page, funny. Like that time I broke my arm running from a squirrel, true story. Funny, I thought it was chasing me, funny, it really wasn't funny. I still believe the squirrel apocalypse is a thing, funny. Like that time a boy called me fat, when I told him I thought he was cute. I kept the joke going, kept his homeboys laughing, kept my waistline expanding inside the punchline, hoping they wouldn't notice it really wasn't funny. Like that time I lost my wallet. I found myself at the grocery store, carts full of baby formula. Funny, nice lady paid. Funny, I really didn't lose my wallet. Funny, I didn't have enough money to fill my car and my child's belly. Funny how life is. Keep writing, you will get to funny. Keep laughing. Laughter is the only thing that will make this poem funny. Like that time I wrote my first haiku along the wall of my college dorm. Funny, it was actually a suicide note. Funny, no one noticed. They say the ones that laugh the most, laugh the least. Robin Williams, Anthony Bourdain, my cousin, me.
Okay. All right, so I got a couple poems for you that at the state of the world today, I'm about to deliver these to you. Here are the 2 poems. To be a Negro in this country and to be relatively conscious is to be in a rage almost all the time. That's what James Baldwin said. I would like to thank him because this quote is helping me express this rage through my pen. See, time after time after time, we say our life matters. And time after time, you see us die and you start laughing. I'm sick of this. Ahmaud Arbery, rest in peace, murdered on Black history, which seems fitting because your death is more than unlearned, repeated, never ended, undefeated history. Public lynchings, best intentions, just opinions, fit descriptions. We saw a weapon, stop resisting, empty clipping, body hit and sent to heaven. Those men are God-fearing. Wait a minute. This is the response you get from the living. while the dead can't respond and defend it, it being their life and how racism ended it. Videos of the lynchings like the 1960s photos playing over and over again like a movie that's been scripted. Videos of the victims' death in the picture, the privileged watch and wonder, while the oppressed watched and were livid. Terrorism at its finest, only they are in the white skin. I call them vanilla ISIS, the way they commit murder, but they use God to justify it. Now I'm sitting here crying, another black man asking why him. Then anger sets in, music goes in, the first album that comes in, Tupacalypse. Now let the show begin. Trapped in this system where Black Death isn't convicted, wanting to be a soldier but only seeing a violent ending. 16 bullets fill me, open casket for all to see, burying me 6 feet. My dear mama cried for me, but the fight back, run track, or hands behind your back. The bullet still ended up in my back. So here I am, conscious, and here I am, angry. Another black body hung from the poplar trees. Another with blood on the leaves. Another mama crying. These are my deepest fears.
Don't get caught up in the he say, she say. It's all controversy. God blesses the one who minds their own. Lord, have mercy. Now, we all fall victim of expressing our concerns, but sometimes intervention can be abrasive and friction, it burns, which in turn, you get the conflict, mostly over nonsense. Misinterpretation, it leads to altercations. Sometimes your friends may turn foe and family ties may sever. You have to let them go. And beware, they may be miserable. You know the type that hold grudges to the bone. They never leave it alone. I try to tell them stay out your feelings and catch this realness. It must be hitting close to home. So that's why I try to maintain in my own lane and stay minding my own. Now keep in mind, we all have similar issues. Some may be minor, some major, but some like to misuse, which is misguided nature. They take kindness for weakness. They try to turn inches to miles. Always needing, never helping, with that fake ass smile. Backstabbers, player haters, leeches, snakes, and rats. They spread dissension with cruel intentions. They stay on the attack. Out of sight, out of mind. That's why I stay minding mine. I just fall back in position with my loved ones and children. I keep it moving, slow motion. No time for stress, no commotion. I'm always trying to stay floating above that bullshit promotion. Cautious who you're provoking, 'cause short fuses, explosion. They say it's the quiet ones that get more vicious than Logan. Now Black Rain is my status, and minding mine is the slogan. Understand, I'm just proposing. Remain strong on your own. 'Cause these motherfuckers out here, they won't leave you alone. That's why I just maintain in my own lane and stay minding my own.
Black girl is born into a world where society will never side in her favor. She is torn between her mother's lack of affection and longing for her father's love. Black girl grows up. She sees women being idolized for their body, has no idea how to trust. Black girl is confused. Black girl is body shamed. Black girl is called out her name. Black girl has skin too dark to be white and too light to be black. And as a matter of fact, black girl's hair is just too damn nappy. Black girl is now a woman, full lips, full hips, and the glow of a goddess. Men catcalled her, asked for her number. Black girl is now a mother, stuck birthing her child into this world without its father. Black boy is born to that black girl into a world where society will never side in his favor. He is torn between being the man of the house and a good son to his mother. Black boy messes up in school. He never follows the rules. Black boy is now a teenager. He is surrounded by friends that make him feel that he's gangster. Black boy is now incarcerated, being beat, abused, starved, and probably sexually assaulted, having suicidal thoughts running through his mind, making him manic. Black boy now has bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, and PTSD, asking himself, why is this happening to me? Because Black families know oppression. Black families know depression like the backs of our hands, like being held captive on boats and snatched from our lands. Black families know generational curses. Not like there really is one, but saying it makes us feel good. Black families are the illegitimate child that was birthed into the hood from depression because oppression decided to stick its rotten, filthy dick in it. Black families know poverty. Black families are the stereotype that we all have EBT. Like, because the color of my skin, you think you better than me. Or it makes you want to cross the street. You don't even like us. You just tolerate us. You enslaved us, raped us, tortured us, built this whole country called America on the backs of Blacks. Call it the land for the free and the home for the brave. Tell us that racism is merely a myth or a figment of our own imagination. So here's my spot. You want to trade? Talking about make America great again. But for us, when was it ever great?
I live life like there's no tomorrow, and sorrow is only a metaphor for bottled up emotions. My words are like spiritual devotions known to cause convulsions, see. Understand that life is unpredictable like oceans, and I'm smooth as lotion and ice cream. I mean, if you've seen what I've seen, your self-esteem may be struggling. Too busy juggling my options like baby mothers giving up kids for adoptions. And my words are concoctions, words carefully selected like presidents. Spectators gather my style as evidence, some kind of historical fossil. Some brothers find God in the bottom of a bottle. Some call me hostile, 'cause I live life like an anorexic girl who can't swallow. And I'm a hard act to follow, 'cause I don't know where I'm going. I wear shorts when it's snowing and winter coats in the summer morning. See, to me it's a bummer, 'cause I'm from a place where ignorance is rewarded and recorded as musical entertainment so people can afford it. My viewpoints of life is like playing Monopoly without the dice, or buying real estate without even knowing the price. Hey y'all, I'm so nice that when I write these compositions, competitions wait for intermission just to collect their thoughts. And I'ma walk these streets like a dog or a lion trying to feed a family of 5. But I'ma survive like roaches and coaches that win championships. I don't slip, 'cause I got a grip on reality like lips to lips.
Alien, 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 alien. I play the alien, I am different. Listen, please listen. Figuratively listen with all your senses. Come back to your senses. I have a vision, listen. It is so sad I am different. Weird, amazingly, naturally gifted. No UFO, but lifted into the 4th dimension. Measurements of volume constructed the 3rd dimension. Misapprehension of the 2nd dimension. Pause in all comprehension doing a reinvention. Intervention, this is an extension. Mental warfare, mental war ain't fair. Stretching tension, no prevention. Equivalent to a child without supervision. Running, chasing geese, not geese on your system. Goosebumps never had a victim. Cold to the core, dots dangling from a dingy door. Levitating, alleviating, stimulating, participating while demonstrating and communicating. New laws regulating. Humans never fully engaging and participating. And this is what is circulating. Stating you are waiting, no relating, indicating, creating, but for operating. A mind so different, a mind so unique, uncommonly invented, obsolete techniques, calculating time spent, double speak, hard to critique, hard to speak. Complications in fine print. To speak. Pinned image of paper like a virus. Witness through my own worn out iris. Although my words give sight to the blind, take each letter how you take it in your mind. Humankind, design, and mankind. Better when I am in alien form, watch the design. Disagree, and I hate it. I am alien, iPlayA, and you have been alienated. So different.
You may not have heard about me. My pen pushes positivity. I write for everybody. I'm one single rose from the 313. You may not have heard about me. My pen pushes positivity. I write for everybody. I'm one single rose and I'm a P-O-E-T. Welcome to her one-woman show. It's an ongoing broadcast that's always on air. There will never be any cancellation or procrastination. This is a can't stop, won't stop, production. Produced by a black girl making magic. She makes the bread. She bakes the bread. She serves it up to fill bellies of the undeserving on the finest china, knowing nothing about me time because her plate's always filled with something to do for someone else. You think this woman was a ringmaster the way she juggles through her days, multitasking as the CEO of everyone's destiny except hers. Energized like that damn bunny. Rocking while we roll, trying to keep her pockets on swole. She can't afford to get sick or is hitting that lick, so she'll keep on ticking like a Timex wound up on borrowed time. Someone put a spell on her. Matrix moves with X-ray vision failed to block venom from penetrating her veins. She ignores the sting, walking around for days and a days with an IQ that exceeds brilliance, but she does the dumbest shit, battering her crown, wearing herself down, forgetting to look out for number one. Writing for her in the morning, maybe even dying for him by nightfall. But every morning she'll rise, undefeated, ready to take on the world, fueled with love from the Creator pumping through her purple heart. He crowned her a queen, but this woman won't sit back or relax. She picks up her people slack, because she's a black girl who works magic. Her life's a haunted fairy tale. As the pages turn, she longs for a happy ending, not realizing she's writing the book with power to dictate how it ends. You may not have heard about me. My pen pushes
Hello, my name is Jason Blakely. I'm a local poet and publisher here in Akron, Ohio, and today I'll be reading the cover poem to my book, My Conscience is My Pimp, Street Corners of My Mind. And the title of the cover poem is called The Truth. We are dying, quietly and proud in ignorance. The neighbors, peace, love, and forgiveness ignore each other, neither willing to tear down blame's fence. This ignorance imprisons change, a hope of which hypocrites proudly claim. We rely on our addictions to free us from pain. Can't break away from our mistakes. Our spiritual identification is fake. Heaven does not have a back door. Crime scene tape surrounds inspiration as it lies there on missed opportunity's floor. Whores for acceptance, give me credit. Our souls forever indebted, victims of emotional embezzlement, leaving us bankrupt and slaves to unworthy saviors. Our favors fade away and are forgotten like second place. It is not God that we must erase, but the distance of belief that we are our own saviors in the self-righteousness of our alien space. We are afraid to submit ourselves to truth, for fear that our doubts in God and of self will be found wrong. The needles of submission pierced my veins, and upon entry, forgiveness called my name, and I was cured from the disease of me people carry, like counterfeit I love yous, on their filthy lips. Thank you.
I'm A minus, aka Minus the Alien, and I'm about to perform a piece I wrote called Coexist that speaks to the times that we're in today. No matter if you're black, white, I don't care what your ethnicity is, how much money you have, we all are human beings and we need to coexist. If only we can coexist, coexist. Unclenched, closed up fists put an end to all the soullessness in the system set up with a hole in it. If only we could coexist. Instead of debating about who the holiest, I recommend put an end to all this phoniness in the system set up with a hole in it. No more living check to check. Time to level the playing field. We competing neck to neck. Let's see how far these pennies stretch. It takes vision, good heart plus many reps, multiple income until they put me to rest. COVID-19, 2020, now we invest. New opportunity, finally free of debt, diplomatic immunity. That means you and me unity for human beings. Behind not being left, stop being stressed. We will no longer be oppressed. We being prepped to restore balance. I come in peace, we can't afford violence. Because we don't turn cheeks. May the Lord guide us from heaven sent to perform Heimlich. If only we can coexist, the world would be a better place instead of so intense. If only we could coexist. Coexist. And clenched, closed up fists put an end to all the soullessness in the system set up with a hole in it. If only we can coexist. Instead of debating about who the holiest, I recommend putting into all this phoniness in the system set up with a hole in it. Thank you.
Whoever heard of having to beg to not be killed? Whoever heard of begging to be believed instead of being asked what our records revealed? Whoever heard of having to beg for charges instilled? Whoever heard of having to beg for a guilty verdict and vindication for the black life killed? Well, we do beg every fucking time, and yet our cries fall between the wayside while the cops pull from the waistline, fire shots until we flatline, knee to the neck until we breathe our last cries, screaming for mama, hoping to see her for the last time. Fuck the police. NWA in my speakers. If you thought this poem would be safe, if you thought I came out here to play, well, you got another thing coming, because I got something to say. We have protested since 2012 to date, piling these streets, screaming at the police, down on one knee, taking these beatings, seeing white folks demeaning Martin Luther King used as a weapon I cannot believe, expressing our protest that you cannot see. George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and Ahmaud Arbery, all lynched, shot down, and choked out. My heart hurts watching another black life snuffed out. White friends with Amy Cooper tendencies, my trust with them becoming a commodity. Conservatives screaming without empathy. Police acting like they are treated like the enemy. Black life not treated with legitimacy, relieving me wondering who is our ally and who's bringing their villainy. With one question that comes to me: where is our reprieve? 400 years later, this pain is weighing on we, fighting the fight that now white people believe. Exhaustion has hit within we, because 8 years later you finally see. After our countless murderers go free, listening to strange fruit marching in the street, rubber bullets being shot at me, tear gas suffocating me, maces blinding me, coughing incessantly, the taser electrocuting me to the point of seize, like in slow motion, the wails of Billie Holiday while black people are falling around me. You didn't expect this from me. Raw emotion coming from anger and grief. Well, I just put my heart in this piece like Emmett Till, my heart and body I have displayed to thee. So if I'm the next hashtag, bullets riddled in me, the need that will bring the death of me, remember this piece. and keep this from becoming my reality.
I remember drunken barbecues, hungover holidays, absent, vacant spaces at school, assemblies, and plays. You see, you preferred women with easy hips and fast cars to slow Saturdays and kite flying with me. But Sundays were our days, Sundays with football. And from August to January, you were mine, and I sat patiently waiting, hoping that one day you would see me, this invisible girl you never wanted. Instead of the sun you'd always hoped for. I sat eagerly learning chop blocks, face masks, triple threat offenses, hoping that one day that 50-yard line would draw me closer to the first man I ever fell in love with. The first man to ever break my heart. Do you remember? The year your favorite team won its division, it was 1991. You see, that was the year that Sanders ran for 1,500 plus yards. You said, if they go all the way, you buy tickets to the Super Bowl and we go together. Just you and I. 1991, the year you left home. The year you left me, the year I lost my virginity and transformed from the little girl so desperately trying to connect with an absent father who longed for an invisible son, into this woman that I am. 1991, I guess that year we all lost to Buffalo. It's been some years since then. Even now, I still look for my trip to the Super Bowl. Even now, I still look for you, my absent father, and every unavailable man who breaks my heart. Even now, every January, I am sad. Every relationship, I'm disappointed. Even now, this woman that I am is still searching for a father who never wanted this invisible girl. I guess even now, I'm still losing to Buffalo. This is the bedtime story I tell my daughters. Once upon a time, there was a little girl who loved her father. And one day, she grew up and got to know him as a man.
I always try to stay in a hybrid state of mind, especially when I'm fresh out the chamber. There are several clans of a dying breed, and we are the sole remainders. They say my words hit hard like Apollo, so come follow my creed. I plant a seed for tomorrow. It should be instinctive to breathe. But sometimes these suffocating memories often visit my dreams. I wake up in cold sweat from never-ending screams. I tried to cover my ears, but my heart continued to listen. It was pumping pain through my arteries, and part of me was missing. Division of my mind, body, spirit, soul, prepared to deliver lethal blows on my foes along these desolate roads. But that only left me to search for answers for my thesis while I was fitting, puzzling, crumbling pieces. I wrote a lifelong letter. I hope you get a chance to read this. I was a little black child walking through the streets of the ghetto, while deceptive lies was being told by the sons of Geppetto. Stripped of my innocence, I reminisce days before the black rain. I closed my eyes and felt the sun rise. That's when my joy came. Now, can you picture black rain in the midst of the purple haze? They call me young Frankie Beverly. I live my life in a maze. Many attempts to escape, but who could I run to? This is my chosen fate. I look back what I come through. Murder, mayhem, travesty. There's always collateral casualties. Seems like there's trouble up ahead, but this is the path for me. Principalities? Man, I can't turn back. So I encrypted my strategy. I'm prepared for attack. Now there's different levels to the game and variables change. We're all mortal, flesh and blood. No one knows how much time remains. Until the selector comes down, my time is borrowed. So I'm going to remain strong on my throne and cope with this sorrow. There was a time I used to fall into the darkness until I learned how to fly. My mama cried so many tears, it's done scarred her eye. Seemed to be no rhyme or reason, purpose driven, I'm still breathing. If the good die young, then it's death and achievement. I'm still grieving over my cousin Peanut, so many countless others. We only have moments to live, seconds to die, which some of this pain was smothered. When I was 8, I lost my best friend in a house fire. These little palms were stealing bombs just to get me higher. Don't judge me, I was a runaway.
Here I am, appointed, anointed, gifted, been broke down by grief and too many required visits to funeral homes and graveyards and penitentiary holding cells. Once a frozen physical shell for 6 grueling years. A boy amongst men, however I am. A captain playing in the national race to any finish line that defines I've overcome. Willing and will beat heartache to the punch with purposeful happiness and defy vexation from ever entering into my spirit again. Despite pain, I am and always will be a strong black man, standing firmly on top of dysphoria and bleakness. When my close friend Jason died from cardiac arrest, a juvenile diabetic father, loved life from 0 to 38 and always gave it his best, I encouraged the suffering in my own mind. Death is confusing, far from an illusion, and we succumb, unaware that it's okay to be left with memories in place of physical presence, and we won't accept the absence that resides where our communication once lived. But I had to remind myself, I am still alive and well-breathing fire and self-healing through poetry and still have so much more to give. I just keep writing, waking up late nights with a broom for a microphone, preparing, knowing unfortunate circumstances are just an expedition, leading to the righteous path I've diligently prayed for and still wishing that I can be an inspiration through the prophetic power of poetry and bring an end into constant depression, anxiety, and suffering. Heal yourself in your own mirror from any angle. When those funerals started rolling years ago, I thought internally that I would die, but you know what? I survived. It's a true story. God doesn't put anything on you that you can't bear. With his mercy, there's no brokenness, no shame and hopelessness. I'm a witness to that forgiveness and mercy because I was once broken and hopeless. I just released that pain on paper. Figured I'd try and bless others, be open and transparent. Tell about my inner peace I encountered when I found open mic at Temple of Passage and started sharing. Just know that it's okay if you go through things in life and need some time to heal. I've learned after mustering up the strength to find new direction, though it then coincides with new reflections and serves as new protections and opens up new blessings. It's just the complications in life comes to blindside the truth within you, and then we begin to second guess it. Those are just life learned lessons. Just always remember, God love suffices through the crisis, and we don't bear if we can't take. Love can overcome hate. It's a necessity that we put a plan in place. I wrote this for those still suffering from eternal grief. Blessings that you may always keep the faith. Peace. Adam Spells Poetry.
Boomerangs are like my favorite thing on Instagram. They're like a short video that plays and then plays backwards and then loops again. I love watching them swing back and forth, a little animated picture. It's so amusing for something so short. I mean, they're only like a second long. Blink and you miss it. They're as short as a finger snap, or tongue click, or a heart pump, or the moment of hesitation that cop took before he shot a Tatiana Jefferson, or the sound of the gunshot. I'm surprised no one made a boomerang out of the viral video that was a Tatiana's murder. I mean, we were watching it over and over again anyway. But if we had clipped it down to just that second before she was shot, and let it loop so she was standing up again in the end, alive. It would last longer than her story did on my Facebook timeline. But for a short while, they kept showing that video. Said, look, it only took 0.6 seconds for this officer to shoot her down. Look, watch her fall. The video is too grainy to see her face, but clear enough to know that's her body you see collapsing. She's pixels now. Watch her turn to analog. Watch her become her death. It was as if no one had ever seen this happen. Like this wasn't proof of history repeating itself again. You see, Black history is America's favorite boomerang. She loves watching it swing from now to the 1800s and back again over and over and over and over with a snap of her fingers. It's like time travel. You could put a screenshot of a Tatiana's death in a display case next to lynch postcards and see how people swarm to stare at them both and see how impossible it is to tell the difference. Are we not right back where we started? Thank you.
Three seemingly simple words are changing the course of history and driving protesters into the streets. I can't breathe. I can't breathe has been the final cry of too many of my brothers and sisters. And I can't breathe because their lack of oxygen is either caused by the boot on their neck or the stranglehold society has on the truth surrounding all of the positive impacts African Americans have had on all aspects of American history. I can't breathe because popular culture has been lulled into believing that there should be no ill effects from the scars left behind by 400 years of slavery, or by receiving land only to have it stolen and pilfered back in the name of a robbery known as sharecropping, or by the fraud and theft surrounding the Freedman's Bank, or by living with the results of the Black codes, Jim Crow, redlining, or even terrorism and murder. I can't breathe because I take the time to remember and mourn the innocent lives lost during the race massacres of New Orleans, Camilla, Colfax, and Cincinnati, just to name a few. I can't breathe because even after enduring all those atrocities, Blacks have made astonishing bounds that are relegated to the halls of the obscure, while textbooks feign false adoration for 3 or 4 of our kinfolk. I can't breathe because all people need to know the positive influence their forefathers had on civilization. Why do you believe that we are any different? Where are our statues? Where are our monuments? I can't breathe because while you proudly fly the Confederate flag, ranting that your history and heritage are so important, you shout that Blacks should just forget theirs and move on. How can these two mentalities exist on the same timeline, let alone in the same consciousness? I can't breathe because even slave owners received reparations for the loss of their human property. and their heirs still reap the benefits of their ancestors' crimes against humanity. Yet the men and women whose open wounds bled as they helped to build this more perfect union received no payments for services rendered. And the only inheritance set aside for their descendants is your intolerance and condemnation. I can't breathe because it's so hard for some to understand that separate but equal only ended 66 years ago. And in truth, separate was never equal. Unjust laws meant to shackle Black families into generational deprivation ensured that fact. And I can't breathe because systemic racism is being compared to the behavior of a small criminal minority in an effort to water down the bloodstains left behind by both, even though each has a direct correlation to the other. And I can't breathe because when you attempt to steal the pride and history of an entire population, unwanted repercussions will be had by all. But raise up a community, teaching them of their accomplishments, and like a garden that has been properly fertilized, a great harvest shall be laid at our country's feet, instead of finding a barren wasteland where no one, not even you, can breathe.
I ran today. I ran to the beat of a Black man's heart, pounding through his chest, rapidly tapping on the drums in my ear. I ran today. I ran until my own chest started to hurt and my nose was on fire. I ran until I could no longer breathe. I ran today because I needed their voices to be heard. I needed our protests and riots to be felt. I ran because I needed to be in that moment with my people, slain at the hands, gun, or knees of police. I ran until I heard their voices. I can't breathe. I ran today. I can't breathe. I ran today until my legs could no longer carry the weight of 400 plus years of oppression, until my lungs fell short of breath, until my head was clouded with thoughts of terror and pain. I ran today because I'm a Black woman, raising even stronger Black children who loves a strong ass Black man. I ran today to feel empowered and stronger than before, for those hashtags, for those names we write on poster boards, Instagram posts and tweets to mean more than just shares and likes. We are human, damn it. I ran today for my children's children. I ran today because I felt hopeless. I ran today because my city is falling apart and I can't even fix it. I ran today because out of every issue in this country, the color of our skin makes some white folks feel threatened. I ran through a city which I attended high school. I ran because enough has been enough. I ran through systematic racism, stomped on the neck of oppression and drug it on the soles of my shoes for over a mile. I ran until I sweated through my shirt, as if I were catching all of our tears, as if I were holding the weight of the pain we live with. I ran today so that the next generations never forget Black Lives Matter.
Coexist, unclench, closed up fists, bring an end to all the soullessness in the system set up with a hole in it. If only we could coexist. Instead of debating about who the holy is, I recommend bringing into all this phoniness in a system set up with a hole in it. No more living check to check. Time to level the playing field. We competing neck to neck. Let's see how far these pennies stretch. It takes vision, good heart, plus many reps, multiple income until they put me to rest. COVID-19, 2020, now we invest. New opportunity, finally free a dead diplomatic community. That means you and me, unity for human beings. Behind not being left, stop being stressed. We will no longer be oppressed. We being prepped to restore balance. I come in peace, we can't afford violence, cause we don't turn cheeks. May the Lord guide us from heaven sent to perform Heimlich. If only we can coexist, the world would be a better place instead of so intense. If only we can coexist, coexist, unclench, closed up fists, bring an end to all the soullessness in the system set up with a hole in it. If only we could coexist, instead of debating about who the holy is, I recommend bringing into all this phoniness in the system set up